Welcome to the most important week of the year for the podcast industry. Welcome to Podcast Movement 2025.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate the time this morning. We will be speaking today on how YouTubers thrive in the podcasting space. My name is Browne. I am the Vice President of Revenue and Partnerships for the Roost Podcast Network. We are a video-first podcast network and a pioneer in the video podcasting space. And I'm thrilled to be joined today by Chavez and Coleman. So I'll throw it over to them for a quick introduction. Ashley?
Hi, I'm Ashley Chavez. I'm a senior media buyer at Oxford Road. We are one of the largest audio-first agencies, and we're really excited to be here. Thank you.
And I'm Korey Coleman, and I guess we already talked about it, but I guess I'm a content creator, mostly on YouTube, but we do a humorous movie review and pop culture podcast, our talk show format. So thanks for having me here.
Yeah, amazing. Today's panel, we will be discussing how video from an alternative lens. So often in the podcasting space, we're discussing how audio creators, podcasters are looking to move into video, how video is a new format for them. But today I wanted to discuss how YouTubers, endemic video creators, are looking at the podcasting space for new monetization options, new creator options. So really excited to dive in. But to start with a quick icebreaker question, I wanted to ask Ashley and Korey, if I were to open your podcasting app of choice, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple, what podcast would be on pause right now?
Right now, how did this get made? Because I was listening to a Bloodsport episode on the drive up here yesterday. I find it's like rewatching another movie when I don't have the option to use that video first channel.
Wow.
Planet Money, which is on NPR. But have you never heard of it before?
No, never. What's it about?
About making money.
There you have it.
It's about making money and current trends of money. It's also very political. So I get a lot of information in one place with that podcast. I don't know. If you've never heard of it, look it up. It's nice.
Sounds pretty different from your podcast, but really informative.
It's not as goofy.
Yeah. Fair enough. As my team knows, I love The Morning Brew. That's my daily go-to show. But to dive right in, Korey, I'd love to start with you and better understand what inspired you to make podcasting a core part of your content strategy. You know, originating as YouTube first, how is podcasting really blended with your content?
Well, video and podcasting or audio kind of started for me at the same time, because when we first started out, we were very much visual. We were much in a very visual form. We did animation, and we took our movie reviews and animated them. And animation is a long process, so it would take about a week or so to animate one video, but we had to put something out during the week. So we figured that, we put out the audio portion and several of the audio portions during the week. So we just started getting into podcasting in addition to putting stuff up on YouTube, which were our animated videos.
So you have animated videos and now just regular talk style videos as well?
Yeah.
And that is what you translate into the audio side of your content? Or is everything audio as well on the other side?
Well, we have a system in place now to where, and this doesn't work for everything, but we try to use one recording for everything. So we start out streaming on Twitch and other streaming platforms, and after we stream, we take the VOD, we chop it up for YouTube, and then after we chop it up for YouTube, then we also put the audio up on podcast platforms.
That's interesting. Everything kind of stems from that YouTube video, and you're pulling pieces out and putting them elsewhere. And you speak about Twitch as well. How does that factor into your strategy?
Well, that's where it all comes from. Like, we stream first, and then from there we take the recording and we put that up on YouTube, and then we take the audio from that and then put that up on podcasting platforms.
I know, I'm curious, and I know you mentioned you're a content creator, but given that you're a YouTuber, a streamer, a podcaster, what do you consider yourself in this landscape?
Well, that's why I use that term content creator, because I kind of do it all. And today, I don't know, what do you think? It all kind of blends anyway, right? I mean, so many people wear so many different hats when they're doing this now. People they might be they might be podcasters, but they're also comedians. They're entertainers. They're editors. So I don't know. That's why I say content creator, because it kind of just encompasses everything.
And Ashley, from a media buying perspective, why are podcast advertisers increasingly interested in YouTubers or content creators that span multiple platforms?
Well, when we're looking at our media buying strategies, the biggest focus is finding our target audience. And regardless of whether they're on YouTube, they're on Apple or Spotify, we want to make sure that our message is being heard by them. So we are increasingly seeing more people being driven to YouTube for podcasts, and we are keeping that in our consideration with our media mix due to the increased audience there.
No, I think that's so interesting that you really are following where the audience goes, and YouTube is such a place of discoverability right now that, brands have to consider it in terms of looking at, all right, our audience is moving and we need to move with them to be really smart about where we're placing our ad dollars. I'm curious though, are you choosing platform by platform? Or are you looking at creators holistically? Are you able to look at creators holistically when you still at the end of the day have to go back to a brand and, show some sort of performance?
Definitely. Well, we try to look at every show holistically, regardless of whether they're an audio-only feed, a simulcast feed where they're going on multiple platforms. We want to make sure that we're intentionally aligning our brands that we're advertising for with the creator that's going to make the biggest impact. It's going to sound organic within their reads, regardless of if you see them holding a product on video or you're just listening to their words.
So at the end of the day, it really comes down to looking, podcasting is a medium. We are looking at all these platforms, but it's all about the creator and how the brand aligns with that specific creator.
Right.
Korey, I'm curious, what new revenue streams has podcasting opened for you that YouTube alone didn't?
I think if we were just doing YouTube, we just would have had just generated ads on there. Yeah. Working with a podcast network, like with the Roost, you make those deals. Those you have the inventory. I don't think I'd be able to do the brand reads that I do within our videos, which pay us much more. It's and we do several a week, so that was a game changer for us to have that. But without a podcasting network that didn't have that inventory, those connections, we're able to make those deals. I don't think we'd be doing as well.
Fair enough. I'm curious from both of you guys, what insights and features do you get from YouTube that you don't get from audio alone or podcasting?
Well, I like to see the community engagement on YouTube. It's a lot more transparent. You get to see the views that are going along with each episode. From there, you can determine the size of the audience. You can also see the comments. Everybody loves posting their comments on their YouTube videos and seeing whether or not your brand aligns with those comments, seeing your spot drop, and reading the comments that come after seeing that spot is huge, and is something that we like to call out with our advertiser partners, that we are creating that community engagement beyond just the ad read.
It's such an expansion of fandom that you get in podcasting where, before with an audio-only podcast, you might have to go to a creator's Instagram page or Facebook and, start that dialogue. YouTube allows for those comments in real time, and you're getting immediate feedback from your community of, do they like it? Do they not? Did they see the ad? Was it so organic they didn't even notice there was an ad in the first place? Korey, how do you engage with the comments in YouTube from, working with brands or just overall evaluating your content strategy?
The comments actually give us a gauge on whether an ad read is working or not. Okay. Because the way we do them, since it's a visual form for us when we do the brand reads, I have a way of kind of working it into our show. I kind of ambush our guest or our host with a brand read or ad read, and so I don't know if that was annoying people, because it annoys the guys that I'm working with. They really hate it.
I surprise them with
I surprise them. Because I work it in really corny, and I'm like, wow, you know why Superman's so super? Because he had a good meal today with HelloFresh, and these guys are like, man, But I'll go and read the comments, and the comments are saying, man, we love waiting to see how he's going to get these guys. We love when he does this, man. Sometimes people just come there and they just wait to see when I'm going to do a commercial in the middle, because they want to see how it's presented. So that lets, reading the comments and seeing people laugh and have a good time with it lets me know that it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious also how video and how YouTube is giving you more space with brand partnerships. Are you able to do more? Do you want to do more with video in your brand partnerships?
Yeah, I would, because I think there's another level of engagement. When it's video is very effective for brands because you get to show the product. You're not in the same room with somebody, but you are making eye contact with your audience. So I think it's you're just making a connection better, and it's a little more personal. And I also think showing the product is more effective.
I think it's interesting that you say, you like to surprise the audience with an ad read. How are you able to do that effectively so you're still hitting the brand main points, all the promo codes, but really seamlessly integrated? How are you able to do that effectively and balance everything a brand is asking from you?
I mean, you just hit the key points. They want you to be able to stay on your brand while you read about their brand. So they want you to go in, and for example, if you're like us, you're a comedic or a humorous podcast, they want you to have a way to bring it up in a manner that's pretty low-key, down-to-earth, very funny. And then once you do that, you can just go ahead and hit the points that they're talking about, and I usually have a fun closer, So I as long as I'm reaching those key points and I'm doing the call to action, they don't really care how much. I mean, sometimes they even want you to curse. Some, not all, but some say, hey, man, if that's your thing, don't be afraid.
Yeah. Ashley, what are your thoughts on that?
I think ultimately there's a couple of things that we think about. In terms of brand safety, there are some clients that do shy away from that, but we see the greatest performance coming out of things that sound organic. When you're listening to an episode as a consumer and you hear a little music break and all of a sudden ads are playing, you tend to tune out. Whereas when it sounds like it's native to the content, it's organic and flowing, your brand is going to resonate with the audience. The audience stays engaged throughout the entire message, and regardless of if it's thrown in with a little bit of comedy or some sass, it will translate to that audience because that's what they're watching already.
Do you have higher expectations for video endemic creators, YouTubers in the podcasting space than you would an audio-first creator?
It depends on the product that's being advertised. With some products that are in the financial space, we do always have disclaimers that are, required by law that we have to make sure that we're working in. If it's something where it can be a fun product, you don't have as many restrictions. And that's where we like to try to find a balance to where we're not being distracting from the messaging and not distracting from the consumer standpoint of seeing a lot of words on screen when they're here to watch a video.
Absolutely. I'm curious, how are brands evaluating performance for YouTube versus audio content? It's so different, and the industry has a long way to go in terms of video measurement, and it seems like we've cracked a lot of the audio side, but how are you balancing the need and the push towards video with the demand from your advertisers for actual proof in the pudding?
Unfortunately, right now, we don't have a lot of attribution pixel providers that can work with YouTube. What we do like to see, though, is direct performance. Calling out that, promo code, putting that link in your description, it gives us trackable metrics to be able to provide to the clients to show that we are at least driving traffic to their site. Now, how it ultimately converts will come through client direct data based on that promo code usage or vanity URL. But it's still a struggle, and that's where we really appreciate YouTube creators that have an audio feed that allow us to get that data that we can get from an audio pixel that we can't get on YouTube.
No, that makes sense. And I'm curious, Korey, from your perspective, how are you making sure that your ad reads are top-notch and performing? Are you getting feedback from brands of this worked well, this didn't?
Yeah. We are not from everyone. I mean, sometimes we just know we're doing a good job because no one says anything. People complain if you do bad. But we've had a couple of people. We even had one write-up. It was for what's the app where you get to the online courses with celebrities?
Masterclass?
Masterclass. Yeah, Masterclass actually did a pretty nice write-up on the way that we present our ads and the way we do them, and they said that they feel like this is a great way to engage with your audience, the way we're doing it.
That's amazing. I think it's so important for agencies and brands to continue that feedback cycle, especially, for YouTubers who are endemic in the video space and maybe new to podcasting, to lay out their standards and what they expect and give feedback pretty religiously. So, us as networks can relay that to our talent and make sure that we're continuing to deliver really high caliber ad reads at the end of the day. Ashley, do you think YouTubers have an advantage in connecting with their audience since they are on-camera personalities? They have that built-in, comment space. Do they just have an automatic advantage in the podcasting space?
I think you can look at it in a couple of different ways. They're able to see immediate results based on community engagement, the ability to live stream and get that immediate like while you're live streaming, whereas the audio-first creators rely on data to support. So you can still see a very successful campaign. You just may not hear about it as fast.
From the video side?
From the video side, you'll hear it faster than audio just because you're getting the immediate audience reaction versus having to wait for data to trickle in.
Korey, what are your thoughts on that? Do video creators, have an advantage from the storytelling perspective?
I mean, there's pros and cons for everything. But I mean, it goes back to what I was saying before. I think that there's just a more personal touch with the video. There's just more personality behind it. Are you talking about now in terms of just in terms of like ad reads or
in general? I think from the brand perspective, I think there's a lot of people in the audience from the agency side and brand side. Yeah. But from your side as a creator,
well, of course I can't speak for everybody, but like for example, we do movie reviews, and within our videos, we cut to clips. Now, if you're listening, you can hear the clips, and it'll get across. But there's just certain visual cues that happen. There's just things where you get more when you're actually able to see that clip. Sometimes there might be something that we do. We'll make fun of each other about something that we did, or somebody's wearing something stupid, and if you don't have that reference there, I don't think it's as effective as it is in audio form. I mean, but like I said, it all comes across, but it's just something more when you're able to see it.
Do you think about that when you're recording your show of, I need to think about my listeners who are just audio, and I need to add in a cue of, this is what I'm seeing on screen?
Well, again, for me, and again, I can't speak for everybody else, I think that no matter what you do, you need to have your audience in mind. I always tell people that, and at least they say, "What do you think is secret for your success or whatever?" And I tell them I'm always keeping the audience in mind. I'm always making sure that they know what we're talking about. Not a lot of inside jokes, or we sit around and talk amongst each other. I want people to feel like they're sitting in a room with us, because it is a very conversational thing that we're doing. And in a conversation, if we're sitting around talking and somebody doesn't know what you're talking about, they're going to feel left out. So I treat the audience like they are a person sitting there watching us, and I want them to feel like they are in the conversation too.
I think being really mindful of your audience and where they're consuming content is critical for some of the best creators. And I think especially when we think about how we're defining podcasting, it really started as the open RSS feed, audio first, and, being able to close your eyes and really understand what's happening. So I think some of the best YouTubers who understand the podcasting space recognize that they do need to include their audio audience as well. It's this full picture of fandom that you're able to build across multiple platforms, YouTube, Twitch, audio as well.
Well, let me ask you this. I think a lot of people can tell when somebody has first started a podcast or anything, because they do have a lot of inside jokes. It's chaotic. They're talking over each other. There's no order. So, I think there's a certain amount of people can recognize when you have experience or you're good at what you do when you make them feel like they're engaged with you. I mean, do you feel that too?
Yeah, I think from a consumer perspective, of the podcast I listen to, I want to feel a part of the conversation and like I'm talking to or listening to my best friends have a conversation. Those are the podcasts that I listen to the most. And I think from the brand perspective as well, those are the shows that are going to perform the best because it's, your friend or an advisor in your ear or on screen, and then when the brand comes on, you trust the host because you have that relationship from time over time, watching them speak, watching the video, listening to the content. You already have that relationship, and I think that's what makes podcasting so special, and how we're so lucky to work in this industry where it's that relationship between host and consumer, and then brands as well. Ashley, anything to add there? What are your thoughts?
I think a lot has to do with how you engage the audience, and the fact that a lot of the audience now is used to having multiple points to communicate in multiple platforms to see their creator best friend that they tune into every week. A lot of people that love a show will follow it across every platform, will go onto socials, will follow the host, and create their own relationship with that host. And once they have that trust in what they're saying and you see that loyalty coming through, brands love it because they know that when they're on that show, they're going to be heard and they're going to be at least checked out because you're tuning in for a reason. You trust what they're saying. So you're going to more than likely take action on what they're saying.
Is that something Oxford is considering, of looking at a content creator and asking, can we buy across YouTube? Can we buy social? Can we buy on their website? Can we work with their merch? How are you navigating all those different directions?
100%. At Oxford Road, we are a very specialized agency in audio. However, we have a department that works in just about everything. We have a radio department. We have our social team. We have our influencer team. And when we have the opportunity to make that larger impact for our brands, we love to collaborate together and find ways to do it. I know we've had a couple of different shows that we've worked with where we are able to work with their show, we're able to work with their socials, we're able to work with all their different points of distribution because the brand messaging is so sound.
I think from a network and publisher perspective as well, those are the campaigns that are the coolest to work on personally, where, we get to work with the creator across everything that they're doing, and a brand is just such a seamless fit. And, as we move forward with video becoming more endemic in the podcasting space, I'm hopeful that we get to do more of that across the board. Going back to, the origins of this conversation based in YouTube, I'm curious where both of you guys see YouTube changing in the next 5 years. What do we need to ask for more from the video side, but specifically YouTube? Where do you guys see the platform going?
Personally, I feel that we will see some form of attribution measurement happening from YouTube within the next 5 years. The platform is huge, but we need to be able to find data-driven ways to tie back that performance to the hosts and the creators and let them know that what they're doing really does work. And without having some of those data pixels and things of that nature, it's a lot harder to get that message across to our client partners and to the audiences. If we have ways to back that, we will lay in more ads. We will extend our partnerships. It will become a long-lasting partnership that everybody will benefit from, audience, host, and brand.
Korey?
So where YouTube is going, and there's the obvious answers. There's going to be probably more AI integration. It's going to be easier for people to do productions. You're going to have your thumbnails being done by AI, probably even editing. Okay. But what I'm curious about is where YouTube is going to go as far as this prediction that YouTube is going to, and YouTube celebrities and creators, they're going to be competing with Hollywood stars and whatnot. I'm not saying that that's the thing that's happening. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I've been reading about, they're going to be challenging Hollywood studios and networks, and they are kind of already competing with networks. YouTube is pulling in more sports. I'm interested to see if that really is going to be something where you see entertainment get more democratized, or however you say it, and see if there's going to be more power put in the creators to where they can actually make a living, create more, and not. Because what I noticed? I noticed that there's a lot of young people who, and they've said this. They said, when I was coming up, it was, that might sound old. When I was coming up, but when I was coming up, it was everybody wanted to work in Hollywood or be mainstream. And now you hear kids today say, why would I want to do that? Why do I want to try to get a network talk show when I have a talk show right here? I don't have to have any gatekeepers or any big censorship or anybody on my back all the time, and I can make money at it too. So I'm interested to see where that angle is going to go.
I think podcasting speaks to that so fluently of ownership and content creation being so flexible where, mainstream Hollywood has changed so significantly and we've seen some massive names grow in the podcasting space. And I think it's going to continue to do so where, podcasting is exactly what you make of it. If you opt into video or audio or you're tapping in your socials, it's your own ecosystem and you're building what you want out of it. And I think that's what, makes our industry really special. And I could see it, really rivaling the big talent and celebrities in Hollywood.
I think there's a danger to that too, though. I think that, and we talked about this before, how smaller creators often get overlooked for the celebrity creators. If you've seen videos where a person with 6 million subscribers or whatever, they had a problem and they made a video where they had someone from YouTube get in touch with them. They even interviewed people from YouTube. If you're smaller, you're not, I don't know what you're getting. I don't know if you're getting a robot or somebody who just doesn't care, but there are people who are making a living now on YouTube, and if they don't have somebody who's looking out for them, that livelihood could be taken away at any time. And I think over the years you've seen YouTube be more money driven as they should. They've kind of leaned towards pleasing the advertisers and during that time I think that they've made some mistakes as far as like they punish people who did use certain language in their podcast or their videos, and people are like, well, I'm labeled as a mature and adult show. Why are you punishing me for this? And the real answer is, well, we don't want to make our advertisers mad.
Right. I do think there is more of a growing divide between these massive creators and then a number of smaller ones, and it's making sure that brands are seeing and have access to creators across the board. No matter the size, they're finding the right fit. One final question for you both, and then would love to open it up for questions. Why is this video conversation important in a room full of podcasters?
Video conversation is definitely important because so much of the podcast audience does consume on YouTube now. Even if they're not watching the video that goes along with it, they're still listening to the podcast through YouTube Music. So it needs to be heard that YouTube is a huge platform now for any sort of audio-first podcast. However, we want to make sure that the content fits every platform it's being distributed on. We want to make sure that if you're listening to a show and you're got your eyes closed, you get the same experience as you do when you're watching the video on YouTube. You're getting the same emotion out of it. You're finding the same education that you're getting out of it. Personally, I have a farm. Those of you that know me, I have a farm, and we started out watching creators on YouTube and thought, hey, we could do this. But then when we're out on our rural land and you don't get signal, you want to make sure you still have that audio file you can fall back on just to make sure you're following all the steps properly when you want to build a goat shelter or you want to throw up 2 acres of fence. You want to make sure you're following all the steps, and it's about meeting the audience where they are. I'm in rural Texas. I don't get great cell service everywhere. I need to make sure I'm able to download an audio file. Otherwise, my shelters are going to be crooked and my animals will get out.
No, that's a perfect example of video to audio, in your real life. Yeah, Korey?
Use everything you can. Video offers just another opportunity, as we've been saying. It offers another opportunity to represent brands, offers another opportunity to represent yourself. I tell you, YouTube, and it's going to sound like I'm kissing ass right now, but YouTube has some of the best analytics that's out there. Yeah. And had we been just doing audio or just doing podcasting, we wouldn't be able to probably open the doors for some things that we do now without YouTube's analytics. For example, in YouTube, you can go through and see where your highest listeners are in the world. And when we did that, we said, well, you know what? We know what cities to go to now if we want to perform live in front of people. Yeah. So I don't think we would have had that way of thinking had we not been doing video.
I think that's so cool how, you're able to see how your video translates on screen, see where those audiences are, and then go perform for them. You're finding them in real time and, able to connect with your audience across the board.
Yeah. We never would have thought about doing live comedy shows had we not had that information available to us that way. So,
yeah. That's so cool. Well, I'd love to open it up. We have 1 minute left. If anyone has a final question, please. Got a microphone.
I transitioned from doing a morning show on the radio to podcasting and been doing it about 8 months. So how would I look for a brand or a sponsor like you guys have?
I would start by talking to Catherine over here and seeing how she can connect you on her network. But there are ways that you can reach out to agencies. Look for us on LinkedIn. We all keep our media buying titles in our job description on LinkedIn. Send me a message if you're interested in working with our agency, and I'm happy to connect you with
What's
everybody.
it called?
I'll get with you after this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate your time, and we'll be over in the corner after for any questions. All right. Thank you all.